everyone, Joe from Central Jersey Conrail and Inscale, and welcome back. So as promised, we're going to get started doing some op session videos. So we're going to break these videos down and we're just going to do and concentrate on one train per video. So this video, we're going to be running the SA-39. So let's talk about the SA-39. The SA-39 is a freelance train. It didn't actually exist in the Conrail timetable. What the purpose of the SA-39 is to specifically switch the Ciba Geigy facility in the Toms River Industrial. So the SA-39 calls out of Brown's Yard and then travels down the main line of the Sayrehurst Secondary all the way down to Lakehurst, and then it cuts off on the Toms River Industrial. So the crew of the SA-39 has already been on duty now for approximately an hour and a half on the time clock. They're sitting just by Toth, ready to pick up their second Form D to give them authority to travel all the way down to Ciba Geigy and start their work. So let's pick up the SA-39 over at Toth. Okay everyone, so here's the SA-39. We're traveling south on the Sayrehurst Secondary. We have 4 loads going down to Ciba Geigy. The train rated 2 locomotives today, an MP15 9626 and a GP15-1 1645. The dispatcher just wanted to ensure that they had enough power to get the, they have quite a few empties to bring back, and they wanted to have enough power to get up the hill at Monmouth Battlefield. Okay, so the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to fill out our Form D to give us authority to travel down to Ciba Geigy. So today's date, November 4th, 1988. Form D number C101. This is to the C&E of number 1645. We're just putting down the lead local unit because that's where the crew's operating out of right now. Circle line 2, operate in a south direction on number 1 track between Toth and Toms River Industrial. Okay. Dispatcher is going to be JD. And time effective on the fast clock is going to be 14:39 hours. Okay, so now we have a valid Form D and we're ready to proceed. All right, so before we get rolling, I just want to go over our switch list. So I've gone ahead and clerked the layout, so all the waybills are turned, they're ready in their cycles. I've also put out my holds, and I put out a couple customer requests on the route. So our 4 cars that we're going to be delivering today, we have the Milwaukee Road boxcar. It's full of barrels. That's going to building 105. We have the covered hopper with naphthalene. That's going to building 105. And then we have the 2 tank cars of chlorine going to building 108. And then we're going to be picking up, we're going to be doing a respot on a tank car. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tank cars to pick up and 3 covered hoppers. Okay, so now that we have all our paperwork in order, I've gone over everything. We're going to get the train going here and start heading on down to Toms River. Okay, so we've arrived in Lakehurst under the Route 70 overpass. The conductor is going to go ahead and throw the turnout so we can enter the Toms River Industrial and head on down to the plant to do our work. Alright, so we're going to enter the plant. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to line up the switches to get onto the number 2 track, which is the track closest to us. Because what I'm going to have to do is make some room, because we're going to pull the cars on building 105 first. Okay, so over here in the box for building 105, there's a hold for the tank car that's the second in line. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull them and then put that tank car back. And I have to pull them 2 at a time because I know that I'm not going to have enough room to get the whole string out clear of the turnout. We just clear it. That's pretty good because I haven't rehearsed this. We're just doing this as we go. Okay, so here's what we have to do now. These 3 covered hoppers are getting pulled. Now I don't have a parking brake set up on the incline leading into the facility. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to back down and we're going to have to spot those hoppers underneath the bridge temporarily. So this is a little situation that is that I've noticed is I got to put some kind of mechanism to hold the cars on the grade, otherwise they just roll down anyway. So what I need to do is I need to make room so I can pull them next to cars that spot them over at 105. So I'm just going to foul the main line for now, and eventually when I put a parking brake in, I won't have to worry about it. What I'll do is I'll use a tortoise with a actuator arm like you would use for a crossing gate, so that I could just the operators could activate that and then put the cars on the grade and then just go ahead and continue operating. So this way you don't foul the main line. So as you can see, you can kind of cheat with 2 cars. You can leave the 1 car on the grade and the other one up top, and it'll hold it in place. Any more than 2 and it's going to roll down. Okay, so now what we have to realize is that that tank needs to be back in that same spot, because they want to hold it in that spot because that's where the tank car connection is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull that tank out, and we're going to put the boxcar back in. Use this coupler to my advantage. There you go. And we made it. Now if you notice, I'm really just flying through this right now. I'm not stopping for connection of air brakes and resetting knuckles. So if you really wanted to slow this session down, you could do that. You know, take like a 1-minute pause each time you would change direction and wait. So we're going to make sure that the boxcar is spotted at the door, and the tank car is right back in the general vicinity of the tank car connection where they wanted it. And now building 105 is done. So now I'm going to take a minute and pause and just get caught up on my paperwork. So we've spotted the Milwaukee boxcar and the covered hopper. So now I'm going to also take a moment to get my car cards in order so I don't get too ahead of myself. So I'm going to pull the hopper cars that we pulled out. Here's the hold card. Here's the 2 that we just dropped. I'll put those back in the slot. So now we're all up to date on our paperwork so far. Just don't want to get too far ahead of myself because then the paperwork will get out of order. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch building 108. We have 3 cars to pick up at building 108, and then we have to put those 2 chlorine hoppers over at 108. So let's get to work with that. Okay, so I had to leave one of the tank cars in building 108 because I don't have enough room to clear the turnout. So, and these little beer can hoppers, they got old micro chains couplers and trucks on them, and they're giving me a real difficult time. Now we'll go pick up that other tank car out of 108. Oh, it's kind of tight in there for me to get in with the uncoupling tool, so I'm just going to do this. What I do is I uncouple it and then I offset the 2 couplers and just have it push freely. So then I can just do that, let go, and pull away. That's just a little trick. Okay, so let's leave those tank cars there and let's get caught up on our paperwork again. So we spotted the 2 chlorine tankers at 108. We picked up the 3 tank cars at 108. Okay, so now 108 is done, 105 is done. Now we have to switch the steam plant area. So if I look in my box and also on my work order, because I've already done my switch list, we had a customer request to respot this tank car here over to building over to 108, and then we have a hold car. The acid tanker is not empty yet, so they want to hold it in its place. So we're going to put that back in the box, and that's easy because the acid car is right in the back, so we don't have to move that one. So we're going to be picking up the Dow Chemical tank car, the white one, and we're going to be moving the black one over to 108. So what I need to do first is I'm going to need to take these tank cars and clear track 2. I'm not going to run them all the way down to Lakehurst. I'm just going to leave them there. Leave them on track 1 over by building 105. Ooh, ooh, ooh. A little too fast. So I'm going to pull them in here. I'm going to clear that turn out there and make sure I clear the crossover. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to pick up this string of tanks. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick up the chlorine tanker that's for the respot. And then we'll do a runaround. And the chlorine tanker will be on the front where I need it to be. So I can pick it and pull it and put it over at 108. Okay, so I thought I was going to make it, but we didn't. I'm like 1 truck shy. So what we're going to have to do is to back all the way down to Lakehurst and drop those tank cars so I can do the runaround. Okay, so here's some redneck ingenuity for you. I use my Mintrex cleaning brush over there to hold the cars. I just don't feel like backing all the way down Lakehurst. So, like I said, when I put that parking brake mechanism in there, that'll make it much more operations friendly. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and spot this car. Okay, so now before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to update all my paperwork. I got the Dow tanker out. I respotted the PPG X chlorine tank car. Update my Waybills. So we respotted this tanker. I'll put the customer respot in the back. I'll put this over in the 108 spot. I pulled the Dow tanker, and there is the acid car. And then these Waybills for these tank cars that we pulled already. Pull those out, and here's the new ones that we dropped. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get all my stuff clipped together. So I have all the car cards for my train, and now I'm going to think about reassembling the train. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move these cars and do a runaround. Then I'll back up in the plant to pick up the rest of the stuff. And it's just things that you got to work on as you go. You know, still learning. You know, like back there, I don't have clearance to move as many cars as I want at one time, so it's just something you have to get used to. And then you know, little nuances like fouling a main line with these extra overflow cars. The other thing is that there's a lot of cars in the plant right now because I'm trying to get the Waybills balanced out. So it is a little, I'll admit there's too many cars in here right now. Okay, so now that our train's reassembled, we're going to go ahead and start pulling out, and we'll start heading back to Toth, because don't forget, our Form D still gives us track authority over Tom's River Industrial all the way to Toth. Okay, so now our train's at Toth. At this point, they would contact the dispatcher and they would get their Form D to give them track authority from Toth all the way back to Browns. So we're just going to end this session here. Okay, so there we have it. There's the SA-39. You know, as you can see, it's still a work in progress. We're still learning a lot of things. You know, there was a couple of trip ups there in the facility. You can see, you know, didn't have enough room to move the cars, many cars at one time as I thought. But these are just things that you just got to develop. You got to develop your operations. You know, and the question arose, you know, should we foul the main line with those cars down in Lakehurst or should we not? You know, that's going to also depend on, you know, what trains the dispatcher has coming. You know, does he want them to keep it clear or not? So, you know, we'll work on those things as we go. It's going to be a, you know, learning process. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed riding along with the crew for of the SA-39 as they did their work down at Ciba Geigy. Next session we'll be running the SA-37, so look for that coming along soon. And thanks for following along. All right, take care.